once we've read the question here, we can see the first part is just Pythagoras' theorem. So here we have our ladder. So Pythagoras' theorem for A says that y squared plus 2 squared, well that's 4, is equal to x squared. And for this one, a bit more complicated, it says that y plus 1.05 squared plus 2 squared, well that's again 4, is going to equal x plus 0.95 squared. So that'll get me the 2 marks for the first part there. Part 2 says, show that 2.1y is 1.9x minus 0.2. So I need to get these two together somehow. Now the first thing I'm going to do is remove the brackets over here. So remember, when I square a bracket, I've got to think of it as the bracket multiplied by the bracket again. Don't just square the individual terms. So that plus 4 is going to equal this bracket squared, which is x plus 0.95 multiplied by another x plus 0.95. It looks a bit horrible, but I'm just going to remove the brackets bit by bit. Okay, let's go down here. So y times y, so we've got y squared plus 1.05y plus another 1.05y plus 1.05 squared. Now that's going to be 1.1025, 1.1025 plus the 4 is equal to, now let's multiply these two brackets together, so it's x squared plus 0.95x plus another 0.95x plus 0.95 squared, which is 0.9025. And I'm going to tidy this lot up. The left hand side becomes y squared plus 2.1y, which is beginning to look good. There's a 2.1y there, plus, and if I add these two together, I get 5.1025, and that is equal to x squared plus 1.9x plus 0.9025. Okay, from the first equation though, over here, I've got y squared plus 4 is equal to x squared. So what I'm going to do is replace the x squared here with y squared plus 4. So that's going to become, so the left-hand side here stays exactly the same, y squared plus 2.1y plus 5.1025 is equal to, now replacing the x squared with y squared plus 4 plus 1.9x plus 0.9025. And what I can immediately see here is if I subtract y squared from both sides, the y squareds will disappear. So the way I need to rearrange this is now looking quite good. I'm going to leave the 2.1y over on the left, and I'm going to write 1.9x, and over on the right then I've got the 4, and I've got the 0.9025. Okay, and I've subtracted 5.1025 to get that 2.1y on its own. So the left side 2.1y is equal to 1.9x, and if I work out 4 plus 0.9025 minus 5.1025, it actually comes out as minus 0.2. So there is the result for part 2. Right, part 3 says, using these equations, form a quadratic equation in x. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to rearrange this equation to make y the subject. So I've got, if I divide both sides by 2.1, divide everything by 2.1, y is going to equal 1.9 divided by 2.1, x minus 0.2 divided by 2.1. Now I don't like all of those decimals, so actually what I'm going to do is a little trick here. I can make 1.9 over 2.1 into 19 over 21. I'm multiplying the top and the bottom by 10, so actually I've got exactly the same fraction. 1.9 over 2.1 is the same as 19 over 21, and in the same way I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom here by 10 to get 2 over 21. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to put that back into this first equation. So x squared is equal to y squared plus 4. Let's just check that's right. So x squared is y squared plus 4. Yeah. So I'm going to write x squared is equal to, now y squared is going to be this squared. So it's 19 over 21x minus 2 over 21, and that is squared, plus 4. Now that's looking like a quadratic equation. It's a bit of a mess, but let's sort it out. Okay, so left-hand side is equal to x squared. Let's just move that. Okay, the right-hand side, I'm going to write it as 19 over 21x minus 2 over 21, and then another 19 over 21x minus 2 over 21 plus 4. Okay, let's remove the brackets. So x squared is equal to, so 19 over 21x times 19 over 21x. Now that's 361 over 441x squared. Then we've got minus, or 219, so minus 38 over 441x. So that's by doing this one times this one. Do it again. So I've got minus 38 over 441x. And then I'm going to multiply this one by this one, which is plus 4 over 441. And I've still got the plus 4. And if I just simplify, I'm going to just collect these middle two terms together. So x squared is equal to 361 over 441 x squared minus 76 over 441 x plus 4 over 441 plus 4. Okay, now it's all a bit of a mess, so I'm going to multiply everything by 441 just to tidy it all up a bit. So this becomes 441 x squared. This becomes 361 x squared minus 76x plus 4 plus, and I've got to do here 4 times 441. Okay, so I've now got 441x squared is equal to 361x squared minus 76x plus 4 plus 1764, which is 441x squared is equal to 361x squared minus 76x plus 1768. Now I can see that that's a quadratic equation, so I'm going to move all of this lot on the left over to the right. So first of all, I'm going to subtract 361x squared from both sides. Well, that gives me 80x squared minus 76x. If I add minus 7 plus 76x, moves to there, and then minus 1768, and that is equal to 0. I can see that everything can be divided by 4, so I'm going to do that. So I get 20x squared plus 19x minus 442 is equal to 0. Now it could well be that that factorizes, but I really can't face factorizing it, so I'm going to use the formula. A is 20, B is 19, C is minus 442. So x is equal to, quote the formula, minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. And I get minus 19 plus or minus the square root of 19 squared, well that's 361, minus 4 times 20 times minus 442, and that's all divided by 2 times 20, which is 40. So it becomes minus 19 plus or minus the square root of 361. Now it's minus minus, which becomes plus, times these three together, I get 35,360. Again, that's divided by 40. And that becomes minus 19 plus or minus the square root of 35,721, again divided by 40, and surprise, surprise, if I work out the square root of that, it comes out as 189 divided by 40. Now we are looking for a length. I can see that the negative solution here, minus 19 minus the square root of 189, is going to be no good. So actually x is going to be minus 19 plus the square root of 189 divided by 40, and that comes out as 4.25. Now I also need the value of y. Easiest way to find that is y is 19x over 21 minus 2 over 21 I stick that into my calculator. Y comes out as 3.75.